The Terran Integration Academy hovered in the cosmos, a remarkably audacious feat of diplomatic architecture. Its radiant hallways were meticulously crafted to house all, from methane-inhaling Zephyrians to silicon-based crystallites demanding furnace-heated slumber. Nexus 7 stood as a testament to the galaxy's unwavering faith in interspecies collaboration. Boasting advanced atmosphere processors capable of transitioning between 17 distinct gas compositions with unmatched speed. Cadet Lydia Cor's arrival coincided, regrettably, with the Academy's Environmental Systems routine Tuesday calibration sequence. The aftermath unveiled a haunting orchestra of pressurized vents exhaling, tormented metal moaning, and sporadic piercing cries echoing from the Vorak dormitories whenever their sulfur balance dipped precariously. Many green recruits discovered this disquieting din utterly crippling, while others merely hoisted their standard issue packs, offered a curt nod to the weary Centurion clerks at the desk, and trudged towards their designated living spaces without even a murmur of recognition. By Wednesday's dawn, the Academy's advanced sensors detected a peculiar disturbance in Dorm Block 7. It wasn't a typical incident like the Galtharian cadets' accidental multi-floor phase shift or the Morak twins' discovery of Coffee's week-long exoskeleton boost. This was profoundly unsettling to the alien professors. A human had fallen completely silent. Professor Quindar, his 7 tentacles expertly juggling grading papers, manipulating holographic displays, and radiating profound existential angst, initially detected the anomaly during fundamental galactic etiquette training. The course, intended to educate cadets on interspecies communication, aimed to prevent inadvertent interstellar conflicts, awkward mating proposals, or the accidental ordering of a sentient being's elder relative as a main course. It demanded comprehensive oral engagement, immersive cultural simulation, and the kind of vibrant discourse that empowered educators, making them feel truly impactful on the world. Grimecore diligently attended each session, captured incredibly detailed notes with script so pristine it would move a crystallite being to shed joyous, geometric tears, and engaged in every activity with flawless, automated accuracy. She executed the action wordlessly. "Miss Core," Professor Quindard queried Wednesday, his tentacles exhibiting perplexed concern, a common display within his species. "Might you enlighten us on the appropriate greeting etiquette for a hive mind collective encounter?" P glanced up, her gaze a potent mix of engagement and cold indifference, then resumed writing. The stylus danced across the pad with the fierce concentration one might expect when disarming explosives or operating on unstable dark matter reactors. The professor's appendages executed an elaborate choreography approximating, by the 7 chaotic swirling realms, what transpires before me. He rephrased, employing the compassionate guidance that had resonated with countless recruits from diverse galactic civilizations. "The stage is yours, cadet. Absolutely no censure. We are united in this wondrous panorama of interstellar collaboration." Gore's reaction was to turn to a fresh page and proceed writing with the unwavering dedication of a mining drone. The other cadets started sharing looks that varied from intrigued to profoundly uneasy. Vexthani, her Zerothian roommate, clicked her mandibles in a manner that suggested either amusement or imminent aggression towards insectoids. The distinction remained largely theoretical until bloodshed occurred. By Thursday, whispers had propagated throughout the Academy's rumor mills with the uncanny speed of a quantum entanglement conduit. The humans, those curious bipedal mammals, recently integrated into the galactic community with the grace of a supernova, were apparently capable of simply ceasing verbal communication. At least, the profound ramifications were deeply unnerving to species accustomed to meticulously charting sentient behavior for millennia. Commander Zilf, the Academy's esteemed Crystallite administrator, faced the novel challenge of convening urgent discussions regarding a cadet who, by all objective metrics, was flourishing remarkably. Sio's physical aptitude scores were simply outstanding. Her scholarly output was impeccable, and her unwavering compliance with protocols approached the uncanny. She seemed to entirely disregard the notion of spoken language. Has anyone entertained Dr. Franks proposed at the urgent faculty assembly, his viscous form undulating with a semblance of contemplation amongst the molluscoids? That this could be a peculiar form of human spiritual practice? Their kind possesses verified instances of deliberate quietude for transcendental aims. Commander Zilf's crystalline form shimmered with a spectrum of hues, ultimately stabilizing on a profound amber, signifying dubious contemplation. Our records indicate that these disciplines seldom surpass several days, even though a full week is chronicled. Could this be an elaborate courtship dance? Mused Professor Yindal, his avian features animated with scholarly intrigue. Numerous species exhibit altered behaviors when procreating. Humankind remains largely enigmatic to us. The discussion persisted for 3 relentless hours, yielding 17 distinct theories, 43 intricate sub-hypotheses, and regrettably, 0 actionable insights. Simultaneously, Core dominated her afternoon combat dynamics training, dismantling simulations with such calculated precision that instructors questioned whether humans possess tactical supercomputers rather than mere brains. Instructor Kravix, a battle-hardened Thorganian whose race had mastered warfare since pre-civilization's dawn, observed Core's obstacle course mastery with increasing awe. She navigated the holographic battlefield with uncanny grace, almost as if guided by fate, predicting unseen dangers and strategically maneuvering with an intuitive understanding that defied conventional experience. Cadet Core, he resonated, his voice imbued with the gravitas of a warrior who'd navigated more lethal conflicts than most species possess vocabularies to describe. Expound upon your strategic analysis of the culminating scenario. She lingered momentarily at the course threshold, pivoted to meet his gaze with that unsettlingly unwavering stare, and departed soundlessly yet without discourtesy. Her conduct betrayed no hint of irreverence. She regarded vocal exchanges as an elective enhancement, one she'd consciously opted against. By week's end, the Academy's Behavioral Assessment Unit was involved. Dr. Morpheus, a Theon renowned for his galactic expertise in mental wellness, initiated a conventional diagnostic session. The session stretched precisely 60 minutes. Cores remained remarkably composed, sustained excellent eye contact, and addressed each query, exploration, and therapeutic method with a tranquil stillness, reminiscent of seasoned meditation gurus or faulty electronics. Intriguingly, subsequently, Morpheus briefed Commander Zilf, his ethereal form rippling with hues suggestive of profound professional curiosity. Her cognitive processes aligned perfectly with standard human parameters. No evidence of trauma, psychological fracture, or neurological impairment. She has deliberately abstained from verbal communication. Deliberately? Commander Zill's crystalline matrix flared with palpable disbelief. Regrettably, the definitive rationale remains elusive, known only to her, and she's currently unavailable for inquiries. The weekend offered no respite. Core adhered to her regimented schedule with unwavering precision. Rigorous physical conditioning at 6 o'clock a.m., a precisely 12-minute breakfast, impeccable attendance in academic pursuits, and evenings dedicated to profound study or introspection within her chambers. Vexani, her flatmate, noted that Core consistently slept precisely 7 hours nightly, upheld impeccable hygiene, and maintained their shared residence with a meticulousness more akin to revered shrines or volatile munitions depots. "She's not simply brushing me off," Vexani articulated to anyone within earshot, her mandibles clicking a complex rhythm that bespoke profound bewilderment. She's acutely responsive to everything: gestures, environmental stimuli, even my fluctuating emotions. Yet, she remains stubbornly silent. Other cadets now see Core as advanced tech with a quirk. They include her assigned duties, converse, accepting her apparent choice to deem speech unworthy. Sunday evening sparked a glimmer of hope. Silence could serve a purpose far beyond merely irritating the faculty. The Academy's advanced sensors pinpointed an unusual energy surge originating from the distant Outer Rim territories. Something immense, incredibly swift, and transmitting identification codes that induced sheer digital panic in the computer systems. Upon scrutinizing the week's incident reports, predominantly centered on the enigmatic, speechless human cadet, Commander Zilf was jolted by an office alert. The sensor data triggered a frantic cascade of colors across her crystalline form, ultimately solidifying into a deep crimson, signaling the immediate activation of crisis response measures. The encroaching vessel was part of a Carvex hunting armada. Across the galaxy's enlightened species, Carvex epitomized evolution's darkest potential. Supreme predators, they mastered interstellar travel not for discovery or commerce, but driven by the utter devastation of their homeworld's ecosystem, perpetually seeking fresh hunting domains. Towering at almost 3 meters, adorned with organic armor and wielding claws capable of tearing through starship hulls, they hunted in packs with near telepathic synergy. These creatures haunted the nightmares of even the most peaceful societies. The proximity of a Carvex pack to the Academy signaled potential calamities. This could very well be a recruitment evaluation, their polished term for discerning if the Academy's trainees would serve as ideal targets for their fledgling predators. Alternatively, they may be answering a felt infringement on their domain, considering Carvex asserted dominance over any region within a 3-parsec sphere of their hunting preserve. At worst, sheer hunger could be the culprit. Commander Zilf swiftly initiated the Academy's defensive measures, engineered primarily as a deterrent rather than for full-scale engagement. The Terran Integration Academy fundamentally remained a sanctuary promoting harmonious interspecies relations. Its defenses mirrored a forceful diplomatic rebuke, amplified by formidable energy shields. As alarms reverberated throughout the station, Cadet K finally stirred from her intense studies after nearly a week. She snapped shut her datapad with calculated precision, rose with the seamless grace of someone anticipating this juncture, and strode to her equipment locker. Vexthani observed, captivated, as her roommate initiated what could aptly be termed a pre-battle ritual. Shedding her commonplace Academy year uniform, she started donning the specialized gear typically witnessed only in high-stakes combat simulations. Each motion flowed, honed, executed with serene precision, suggesting a well-rehearsed routine. Korbexani clicked her mandibles, a hesitant query. Alarms? Emergency stations? Should we report? For a fleeting instant, Kor seemed on the verge of answering. She momentarily halted her gear inspection, fixed her gaze on her roommate, and for the first time in what felt like forever, a flicker of solace danced across her face. Then silently, she resumed her duties as the Academy's alarms blared their electronic distress calls, and the faculty raced to enact emergency measures they had prayed they'd never need. Cadet Lydia Kor finalized her arrangements and proceeded towards the central nexus. Her week-long vow of silence was nearing its conclusion, although in a manner wholly unforeseen by the Academy's psychological assessment group. The Carvex were imminent, and inexplicably, the individual who had maintained a steadfast silence for 7 days had been meticulously preparing for precisely this eventuality. The Academy's contingency protocols were meticulously architected by a council of a dozen distinct species, each lending their specialized acumen in crisis navigation. The upshot was a framework adept at seamlessly orchestrating evacuation tactics for methane-breathing entities, dynamically calibrating artificial gravity for species vulnerable to standard acceleration, and instantly decoding widespread panic into 47 diverse linguistic expressions. Its original blueprint hadn't accounted for the dire predicament of a human cadet seemingly averse to vocalizing urgent information. Commander Zilf now grappled with the exceptionally infuriating challenge of navigating twin emergencies, an encroaching Carvex hunting pack and a faculty seemingly more preoccupied with Ko's mental well-being than the very tangible prospect of becoming prey for colossal predators. The daily debrief had morphed into a lively interdisciplinary discussion on human behavioral tendencies, or more cynically, a scholarly frenzy masked as rigorous scientific investigation. I've surveyed extant research on human silence rituals, Professor Quindar declared, his appendages shifting into a pose his species deemed one of erudite gravitas. Historically prolonged voluntary silence often correlates with intense emotional distress or profound spiritual experiences, yet neither appears relevant. Frank's disapproval manifested in subtle undulations across his gelatinous form. Maybe we're fundamentally misinterpreting this. Instead of a pathology, could this represent a unique human readiness? Their species displays documented instances of individuals entering altered states of awareness preceding pivotal trials. Altered states indeed. Commander Zilf's crystalline form shimmered with hues of skeptical amber. She's diligently attending courses, acing assignments, and exhibiting impeccable hygiene. Should this be an altered state, it marks the apex of functionality ever documented in galactic archives. Meanwhile, the Academy's advanced sensors meticulously monitored the Carvex vessel's unwavering trajectory. The relentless hunting pack persisted on a trajectory poised to reach the Academy in roughly 18 hours. Ample time for station defenses to brace, yet woefully insufficient to evacuate thousands of cadets. A diverse tapestry of species with vastly different environmental needs. Concurrently, the focal point of their anxieties was vividly illustrating why human behavioral tendencies mocked standard xenopsychological assessment. Core materialized at her upper-level strategic theory class punctually, occupied her customary position in the third tier, and initiated scrutinizing her documentation with the unyielding, calculated fervor she'd exhibited throughout the week. Today, her preparations had an intensified purpose, causing classmates to subtly distance themselves. Instructor Vorak, descended from primal pack hunters before embracing scholarly pursuits, instantly recognized the telltale signs. Core displayed the chilling demeanor of a hunter poised to strike, not a berserker's blind rage, but the refined focus of an apex predator meticulously planning its kill. Our topic today, advanced defense tactics against overwhelming force multipliers. Vorak proclaimed, his battle-worn hide shimmering with the intense thrill of finally weaponizing academic theories. He elaborated on leveraging tactical brilliance and terrain mastery to effectively subdue overwhelming adversaries. The class became instantly captivated. The majority of cadets hailed from species that attained galactic prominence via diplomacy, commerce, or technological leaps, rather than military dominance. Studying warfare from a secure academic vantage point held a similar allure to observing formidable predators from behind impenetrable shields. Consequently, Stylus's datapad activity accelerated markedly. This week, she finally transcended mere transcription, her notes evolving into a rich tapestry of diagrams, calculations, and insightful tactical appraisals of the classroom's architecture. The core tenet, Vorak amplified, is that overwhelming power is rendered insignificant through astute placement, precise timing, and a heightened awareness of the surroundings. Theoretically, the lone, strategically minded defender might triumph against numerous assailants by expertly manipulating the engagement dynamics. A flurry of hands, tentacles, and assorted inquisitive limbs shot up from the student body. Oblivious, Core remained engrossed in her writing, her concentration so palpable it seemed to amplify the very atmosphere. Instructor Vorak probed, "Cadet Schickstall," his voice a low hum. "Imagine a clash where the aggressors boast both overwhelming numbers and superior combat prowess. Hypothetical, naturally." Vorak's eyes gleamed with veiled amusement, or perhaps predatory glee. A supremely pertinent question, particularly considering our present realities. When confronted with seemingly insurmountable challenges, a defender's greatest asset is their inherent unpredictability. Many aggressive species depend on predictable behavioral sequences and anticipate their prey reacting in typical anticipated patterns. A defender capable of shattering these expectations immediately secures a considerable strategic advantage. Kyo's stylus momentarily ceased its movement in class. She met the instructor's gaze, her expression a potent blend of comprehension and resolute fulfillment. Returning to her notes, her writing now surged with an electrifying urgency, imbuing the very atmosphere with palpable anticipation. The session stretched into another hour, exploring hypothetical scenarios eerily mirroring the Academy's present predicament. As it concluded, Core had meticulously documented 17 pages, culminating in an exhaustive tactical breakdown encompassing environmental dynamics, amplified force projections, and what strongly resembled an intricate battle blueprint. As the other cadets dispersed, animatedly debating the lecture with the peculiar zealotry born from dissecting peril within safe confines, Core lingered in her seat. She scribbled notes for an additional 10 minutes, her gaze occasionally sweeping over the classroom's architectural elements with a discerning assessment that ignited Instructor Vortex's predatory instincts, a flicker of recognition sparking within him. "Cadet Core," he declared at last, his voice resonating with the gravitas of one who had weathered more battles than most species possess vocabulary for. "Your assessment appears exceedingly thorough." Core lifted her gaze, locking into that same unsettlingly intense eye contact that had become her signature, and momentarily it seemed she might utter something. However, she merely collected her belongings and proceeded towards the doorway, but not before setting her datapad on the instructor's desk with a calculated exactness, hinting at a deeper meaning beyond mere oversight. Vorak scrutinized the notes post-departure. His weathered hide shifted in hues, revealing mounting admiration intertwined with profound disquiet. Kyo's strategic assessment transcended the realm of a student merely exploring hypothetical situations. This was a meticulously crafted operational plan, forged by a seasoned expert in asymmetric warfare, anticipating a fast-approaching conflict. The day deepened, and with it, the faculty's desperate efforts to decipher the enigma that was Core's mind intensified. Dr. Morpheus initiated a refined psychometric analysis, employing cutting-edge neural imaging to chart thought processes across numerous species. The findings proved both comforting and profoundly unsettling. "Her cognitive function is perfectly nominal," he conveyed to Commander Zilf, his spectral essence cycling through hues that betrayed expert perplexity. "Indeed, her mental architecture surpasses standard human cognitive frameworks. She isn't undergoing a psychological collapse. Instead, she's exhibiting what seems to be amplified cognitive precision." Amplified in what manner? Commander Zilf's features shimmered with bureaucratic exasperation. Her neural networks are functioning with the level of proficiency typically observed in seasoned combat professionals or those who've endured rigorous mental training. It's almost as though she meticulously anticipated a precise contingency, achieving peak operational efficiency. The ramifications were deeply disturbing. Should Core brace for conflict, it implies her premonition of the impending Carvex eclipsed the Academy's intel apparatus. Alternatively, humanity might harbor an undetected precognitive faculty missed during initial assessments. Dinner offered further scrutiny. Core arrived punctually, meticulously chose sustenance as always, and dined within 12 minutes. Tonight, however, her peers observed with captivated intensity akin to watching perilous fauna. Begsani approached, displaying the wary deference one shows to someone who had, at long last, she grasped they were cohabitating with a veritable apex predator. "Ko," she declared, her mandibles clicking in a pattern that betrayed her anxious resolve. "I extend my sincerest apology." For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Ko's rigid clockwork existence wavered. She glanced up from her repast, a look of authentic astonishment gracing her face, yet she uttered not a word. "Just recently, upon your initial arrival," Pixani proceeded, her insectoid visage betraying something akin to chagrin in her species, "I expressed certain sentiments regarding human fragility, remarking on your species' perceived delicacy relative to the galaxy's other inhabitants. I mistook your silence for emotional vulnerability, but your expression morphed into something akin to amusement, laced with undertones that had sent a jolt of instinctive alarm through Vextoni's exoskeleton. My initial assessment was flawed," Vexani conceded. "Observing you this past week, it's becoming clear that underestimating human resilience may be the gravest mistake one can make in this galaxy. You are not fragile. You are, in fact, something altogether extraordinary." Kor leaned forward, her fingers brushing Vexani's chitinous hand in a fleeting touch that subtly communicated absolution, understanding, and an implicit caution. She then resumed her dinner, acting as if the preceding words were never spoken. The late hours at the Academy illuminated the conclusive elements of the mystery. Recent security recordings disclosed that Kor's quietude masked a meticulous analysis of the station's architecture, security infrastructure, and structural weaknesses. Under the guise of standard cadet drills, she executed a reconnaissance operation, charting each passageway, entry point, and strategic vantage point with the precision of a seasoned intelligence expert. Commander Zilf scrutinized the footage, understanding escalating into profound dread. The human cadet's week-long silence was dedicated to war preparations, exhibiting strategic prowess, hinting at vast experience in precisely this situation. She was aware Commander Zilf recognized her, crystalline form shimmering with rapid, revelatory brilliance. Uncannily, she sensed the impending Carvex onslaught. The nascent dawn would usher the hunting pack into scanning proximity of the Academy's defenses. In roughly 6 hours, the station would confront the deadliest predators in explored space, beings evolved to hunt the intelligent and sophisticated beings, refining the hunt into a deadly and sublime art. Deep within the Academy's hallowed halls, a human cadet, silent for a week, meticulously readied herself for a showdown destined to reshape the galaxy's perception of humanity. Her quietude was about to shatter, and the galaxy was on the cusp of learning that the deadliest predators often lurk in the guise of the vulnerable. Emerging from hyperspace with theatrical grandeur, the Carvex hunting vessel exuded generations of honed intimidation. This marvel of advanced engineering boasted fluid, predatory lines like molten metal, menacing weapon ports resembling gaping maws, and sensor arrays tracking prey with a stalking cat's relentless focus. Was the kind of warship that compelled serene civilizations to reassess their dedication to peaceful negotiations and instead pour resources into robust defensive armaments. Commander Zilf observed its approach from the Academy's nerve center, her crystalline form shifting through hues that might have been stunning in another context, but now resembled a distressed warning signal undergoing a profound existential dilemma. The Carvex vessel emerged from hyperspace precisely at the projected coordinates, suggesting either impeccable navigation or prolonged surveillance of the Academy to determine optimal approach trajectories. "Incoming transmission," declared Lieutenant Korax, whose tentacled appendages danced across the control surfaces with the frenzied energy born from operating equipment engineered by a dozen disparate species with fundamentally conflicting user interface philosophies. The primary display jolted to existence, unveiling the sight that every sentient life form across the cosmos devoutly wished to avoid outside historical archives. A Carvex apex predator, adorned in elaborate ceremonial hunting attire. Towering almost 3 meters high, its armor not reflecting light but consuming it, the being radiated a presence that rendered the very concept of peaceful cohabitation as a profound and deliberate mockery of evolution. Academy Station. The Carvex articulated in flawlessly accented galactic standard, rendering it even more unnerving than an incomprehensible roar. I am Hunt Leader Vext of the Crimson Talon Pack. We're here to rigorously evaluate the caliber of your Academy's curriculum. Commander Zilp's mind raced through diplomatic protocols while she grappled with ever-escalating possibilities. Hunt Leader Vex Koth, Commander Zilp here from the illustrious Terran Integration Academy, thrilled by your enthusiasm for our academic pursuit. However, do bear in mind, our institution adheres strictly to the Galactic Education Consortium's neutrality accords. The Carvex's laughter, a chilling resonance, capable of instilling primal fear, rousing prey from slumber across the cosmos, gripped by inexplicable dread. Neutrality pacts? How endearingly naive. We've received compelling intel regarding the novel species you're assimilating, notably their promise as formidable opponents for our aspiring hunters. The transmission ceased with a decisive abruptness, underscoring the Carvex's unwavering resolve. They weren't here for mere diplomacy or cultural sharing. Their mission? To assess if humans were worthy prey in their species' ritualistic hunts, a judgment they'd make through brutal, first-hand trials. Engage all defensive protocols, Commander Zilf commanded. Despite their understanding that the Academy's defenses serve primarily as a deterrent, not a combat-ready fortress, they initiated Evacuation Protocol 7. Prioritizing the swift removal of non-combatant species, they established defensive lines for those able to fight back. The Academy's hallways buzzed with a symphony of organized pandemonium as thousands of individuals from numerous species, each possessing unique environmental needs, varying degrees of mobility, and distinct reactions to fear, navigated the emergency. The resonant crystallites chimed like ethereal wind chimes in motion. Gelatinous entities surged through ventilation conduits, while diverse humanoid species fled with the stark, focused terror born from the sudden, chilling epiphany of their impending role in another's food chain. Amidst the orchestrated chaos, Cadet Corps moved steadfastly against the tide of fleeing personnel, displaying the tranquil resolve of someone bound for a crucial rendezvous. She had exchanged her Regulation Academy attire for formidable combat equipment, hinting at technological superiority far surpassing the Academy's standard arsenal. Every piece of equipment was placed with calculated precision, and her movements flowed with the assured grace of a seasoned expert. Vexthani noticed her roommate heading toward the central nexus and detached herself from the evacuation flow. "Core," she urgently called out, her mandibles clicking with palpable anxiety. "Evacuation shuttles are now leaving from Bay 7. We must relocate." Cole halted, pivoting towards her roommate. A flicker of near affection graced her face, a nascent warmth reminiscent more of a fiery forge than a cozy hearth, a sight unseen for a week. She delved into her equipment pack, extracting a compact device, which she firmly placed into Vexthani's chitinous grasp. "Emergency beacon," Core stated, her voice radiating a serene authority that momentarily quelled the surrounding pandemonium. "Remain with the evacuation contingent. Once the crisis concludes, activate it." Vexthani gazed at her roommate, utterly stunned. Following a week of complete muteness, Core's initial utterance comprised strategic directives, articulated with a composed proficiency hinting at days of meticulous premeditation. As the ordeal concluded, Vexani pressed Core. "Surely you aren't contemplating a mere week," Core retorted, her voice laced with primal power, sending shivers down Vexani's exoskeleton, a stark reminder of apex predator dominance. "I dedicated a full week meticulously preparing for precisely this contingency. Believe me." Before Vexani could retort, Core vanished into the throng of evacuees, navigating the pandemonium with such calculated and imperceptible grace that she seemed to simply melt away into the chaos. Carvex boarding pods impacted the Academy's hull with impeccable accuracy, each strategically targeting a different zone to amplify chaos and suppress organized defense. These pods were masterpieces of engineering, embodying the deadliest efficiency for delivering annihilation within confined environments. They sliced through the Academy's hull plating like molten blades through manufactured butter, deploying their occupants directly into corridors designed for scholastic pursuits, not brutal combat. The initial Carvex forces spilling from the boarding pods discovered themselves amidst an environment that felt almost offensively serene. The Academy's corridors were expansive, brilliantly illuminated, and adorned with holographic displays celebrating interspecies collaboration and galactic accord. It was precisely the kind of gentle, cultured atmosphere that instilled in the Carvex species a profound disdain for their would-be victims. Hunt guided a Vexhusk, who materialized in the central hub with the unsettling elegance of a nightmare brought to life. His formidable pack trailed behind him, 6 seasoned hunters whose collective kill count mirrored the obliteration of entire fledgling societies. They navigated the Academy's corridors with the assured precision of ultimate predators, utterly unfazed by anything remotely resembling meaningful opposition. "Disheartening," Vexquith lamented, his pack's reconnaissance painting a bleak picture. The quarry scattered, proving as feeble as anticipated. Perhaps tales of humanity's prowess were mere hyperbole. The chase commenced with the cold precision that cemented the Carvex as the galaxy's most dreaded hunters. They swept through the Academy zones with chilling method, relentlessly pursuing the stragglers who couldn't escape, showcasing precisely why their civilization mastered interstellar travel, chiefly to discover richer hunting preserves. Commander Zilf and her staff sought sanctuary within the fortified command center, captivated by the Carvex's relentless advance displayed on security monitors, a helpless awe reserved for observing apex predators in their untamed habitat. Their movements exhibited uncanny synchronicity, almost telepathic, as each predator seamlessly executed their role within the pack's sophisticated hunting strategy. "Where do they venture?" Lieutenant Corex mused, his tentacles meticulously charting the Carvex's trajectory on the tactical display. Their maneuvers deviate from established search protocols, as if an external force dictates their course. Commander Zilf's crystalline form illuminated with a burst of realization. Indeed, the Carvex are under guidance, yet not by their own strategic acumen. Someone orchestrated their journey through the station, exploiting their inherent predatory instincts by crafting deceptive prey trails that lured them further into the Academy's hidden depths. Within the Academy's subterranean levels, Cadet Corps navigated maintenance corridors with a heightened spatial perception honed from rigorous urban combat drills. She meticulously charted every access point, vulnerability, and tactical edge the station presented during her week of silence. Now she's executing a master plan that would astound military strategists galaxy-wide had they been there to observe. The initial Carvex hunters stumbled upon Caw inside the former advanced physics lab of the Academy. Driven by primal instinct, the creature relentlessly pursued a rapidly fading prey signature through the subterranean corridors, utilizing scent trails and subtle environmental anomalies with the acute precision of a seasoned hunter. Yet it stumbled upon an unexpected sight, a lone human cadet, poised and serene amidst the laboratory's core, enveloped by machinery resonating with barely suppressed power. "Ah," Carvin toned, a voice brimming with the keen satisfaction of discovering true adversaries. "The emergent species. I earnestly anticipated an encounter with your race." Core observed the towering predator with unwavering poise, mirroring her detached evaluation of all encounters during her week-long vow of silence. The being was undeniably formidable. Implacable natural armor, razor-sharp, retractable claws capable of cleaving starship hulls, and reflexes forged by eons of evolution. Ordinarily, it could have decimated scores of Academy cadets effortlessly. But these were extraordinary times. Hunt Ladder vexed, her voice amplified with utmost clarity throughout the lab's comm system, declared, "So, your squad is strategically deployed across 7 distinct Academy sectors, each hunter aggressively tracking unique prey. Standard Carvex enclosed environment hunting protocol is in effect." The Carvex hunter's head swiveled, locking on her with intense primal focus. "We are intimately familiar with your hunting strategies, Prey. My understanding of your species is comprehensive, encompassing your tactics, established behavioral tendencies, and exploitable vulnerabilities," Core asserted, her voice marked by a chillingly detached professionalism that seemed to lower the room's temperature noticeably. "I dedicated an entire week to exhaustively researching Carvex hunting methodology from every available galactic database. You're undeniably formidable predators, but ultimately, your actions remain anticipated." The hunter's razor-sharp claws unfurled with a metallic shriek, the final symphony heard by countless doomed sentients. "Predictable? We'll discover how predictable you deem oblivion, human." It catapulted across the lab with the blistering velocity that established the Carvex as apex predators of their primordial home. Its trajectory was impeccable, its timing exquisite, and its lethal strike poised to conclude the encounter swiftly. Ko sidestepped with effortless grace, her movement so minimal it bordered on nonchalant. The Carvex hunter collided with the laboratory equipment behind her. Its relentless momentum propelled it straight into a containment field generator, meticulously revamped during last week's upkeep. The resulting energy surge was instantaneous, dazzling, and utterly cataclysmic. As the light subsided, the Carvex hunter lay dormant, its formidable armor plating seared yet unbroken, its respiration measured but faint. Core had subdued a towering apex predator, standing at a staggering 3 meters, without resorting to physical force, weapon deployment, or even a raised inflection. "Vex, late hunter of the hunch," she broadcast over the comms, her tone laced with a chilling undercurrent that sent a jolt of adrenaline through the Academy's survivors. "Your tracker is alive, albeit neutralized. That is your fate, and all who hunt with you, if you continue your hunt. Parley or perish. Let's negotiate." The ensuing silence was the pregnant pause before history bends, either toward lasting peace or utter destruction. In the nerve center, Commander Zilf monitored her security feeds, captivated as if witnessing stellar genesis or galactic cataclysms. A silent cadet, mute for days, had soloed a Carvex hunter and was now parlaying with the deadliest predators in the cosmos. The cosmos' perception of human capabilities was on the verge of a monumental transformation. The ensuing hush blanketed the Academy's communication networks, akin to the tense stillness preceding a cataclysmic storm. Within the command hub, Commander Zill's crystalline form pulsed with hues beyond terrestrial comprehension, ultimately resolving into a profound violet indicative of the deep cognitive realignment triggered when bedrock principles of existence demanded instant reappraisal. Hunt Leader Vex's eventual reply resonated with subtle implications that momentarily stumped even the Academy's advanced AI, which seemed to deliberate in digital silence. Human, he declared, his voice stripped of the overconfident swagger of a dominant predator facing its quarry. You discuss conditions as though you wield considerable power. One of my trackers has encountered a minor setback. Nothing more. This doesn't fundamentally shift our assessment. Kyo's mirth resonated throughout the lab's comms, an unsettlingly authentic amusement far more disturbing than any overt menace. Hunt leader, your 5 remaining hunters are vigorously pursuing prey trails throughout Academy sections I meticulously modified last week. Shall I showcase my definition of leverage? The command center's tactical display ignited, showcasing intense energy, signatures surging across the Academy's lower levels. Each locale aligned impeccably with the Carvex tracker's placements. Every power surge hinted at engaged mechanisms far beyond the Academy's initial blueprint. Intriguing, breathed Professor Quindar, his tendrils weaving computations that seemed to mock fundamental physical principles. She meticulously fortified the station into a strategic stronghold. These aren't haphazard tweaks. They're elements of a cohesive defense network. The initial pursuer, drawn by apparent weakness, followed what seemed to be an injured crystallite via the Academy's geology wing. The aroma trail was flawless. The surrounding disruptions mirrored a fleeing target's path flawlessly, and the setup seemingly offered great perks for a predator. However, the hunter stumbled upon a transformed corridor. A bewildering 3-dimensional labyrinth forged from solidified energy and warped gravity. The Carvex's ingrained instincts, sharpened over millennia, backfired spectacularly in this reality where physics had been imaginatively redefined. The hunter discovered it was ensnared in a captivating gravitational embrace, holding it with the tender yet unwavering strength of a parent cradling a child, utterly still but perfectly unscathed. On to 2 neutralized, Core reported with a chillingly detached precision, reminiscent of a tactical AI plagued by a fractured persona. Gravitational containment field disengages upon cessation of aggressive actions. The second hunter stumbled upon a corridor that appeared to extend endlessly into the vast expanse. It was a holographic labyrinth meticulously designed to exploit the specific weaknesses in the Carvex visual perception, leading to the creature becoming ensnared. The beast wasted 20 minutes chasing a phantom that forever remained tantalizingly beyond its grasp. Finally, it succumbed to utter exhaustion, collapsing in what it discovered to be a perfectly circular corridor, precisely 12 meters in diameter. Hunter 3 is enduring a profound sensory deluge, while Core eloquently continued her narration. Holographic displacement field restoration will take approximately 4 hours. Hunt spearheaded a wave of remaining Vex Coats hunters, each relaying bewildering engagements that shattered every established tactical doctrine within the Carvex military archives. One hapless hunter was ensnared within a temporal anomaly, their movements reduced to a mere 1/10 of their normal speed, yet their cognitive function remained at peak capacity, an overwhelmingly unsettling experience for most entities. Another faced a corridor segment where artificial gravity cycled through every orientation every half minute, forging a combat arena demanding continuous, complex spatial adjustments. How did they manage this? Hunt later pressed Vexov, his tone laced with baffled respect, the kind reserved for prey that had inexplicably evolved into the hunter. How can a single person overhaul an entire space station in a mere week? Gora's answer echoed from the central hub, as if she'd anticipated this query. I didn't retrofit the station's hardware. I revolutionized the way its existing systems synergize. Each defensive protocol you faced leveraged pre-existing educational equipment. I ingeniously repurposed it. The ramifications proved groundbreaking. The Academy's cutting-edge educational arsenal featured gravity control platforms for physics instruction, immersive holographic environments for vivid historical simulations, sophisticated temporal dynamics labs for pioneering theoretical explorations, and potent energy shield generators for hands-on engineering applications. Core had skillfully woven all these systems into an advanced, comprehensive defense network, transforming the station into a potent weapon specifically tailored to counter Carvex hunting strategies. Remarkable hunt letter, Vexkoth conceded, his voice laced with the begrudging admiration his kind held only for formidable foes. Yet, you have only postponed the unavoidable. My team will evolve with your adjustments, yet you stand alone against 6 seasoned trackers. Indeed, Core retorted, her tone now charged with a subtle energy that made the Academy's atmosphere vibrate with suspense. I'm a solitary warrior who has meticulously trained for this precise moment since childhood. And your team isn't evolving, it's merely reacting. They're being methodically dismantled by tech they can't fathom within scenarios they're unable to foresee, employing strategies their very DNA never primed them to resist. The ultimate predator faced Core directly in the Academy's central gymnasium, where she seemingly lay in wait. The beast advanced, a wary reverence born of its pack's demise mingling with raw predatory drive. Carvex were sculpted by evolution into ultimate hunters, never abandoning a fight, strategy be damned. Human, the hunter rasped, claws unfurling with ritualistic menace. You've earned my respect as a formidable foe. I extend to you the esteemed privilege of single combat, upholding Carvex tradition. Core observed the towering predator, maintaining the same composed demeanor she'd exhibited throughout the preceding week. I acknowledge the proposition, she stated, her voice conveying sincere regard. Yet honor holds no allure for me. Eager to conclude this engagement with scant losses and prime enlightenment, the Predator's assault epitomized the Carvex essence, shattering velocity, seamless synchronicity, and lethal precision that cemented their galactic dread. The advance was impeccable, the method faultless, the delivery befitting legendary galactic hunters. Cores met the charge head-on, refusing retreat. Her movements possessed a mesmerizing fluidity, indicative of rigorous close-quarters combat expertise. Seamlessly, her right arm parried the hunter's assault, employing a maneuver that masterfully diverted its force while precisely targeting critical neural pressure points. The entire confrontation unfolded in roughly 3 swift seconds, culminating in the Carvex hunter's collapse on the gymnasium floor, seemingly without any discernible effort from Core, who loomed over him. Hunt leader vexed, she calmly relayed into the comms, her respiration scarcely increased. Your entire pack has been neutralized employing strictly non-lethal techniques. Annihilation was an option I deliberately rejected. The Academy's enhanced systems possess multiple lethal capabilities that I deliberately abstained from utilizing. This exhibit ought to furnish ample data for your evaluation of human capacity. The ensuing stillness persisted for several minutes, wherein the Academy's inhabitants collectively held their breath, contemplating whether they stood on the precipice of a groundbreaking diplomatic accord between humans and Carvex, or the dawn of an interstellar war dwarfing past skirmishes into mere theoretical discussions. Tones hinted at a profound paradigm shift in his worldview. Your species displays unforeseen attributes. We arrived to evaluate your viability as sustenance for our fledgling hunters. Instead, we've discovered a predator that eclipses our own prowess through unfathomable means. We're not predators, Core stated, her voice imbued with the kind of understanding often used to dissect advanced topics for especially dense minds. We're more like solution architects. The Carvex situation presents a challenge, namely, how to negate overwhelming force with impeccable planning and strategic innovation. I dedicated a full week to dissecting that challenge and engineering countermeasures. Commander Zilf seized the opportune moment to re-enter the dialogue. Her radiant crystalline form pulsed with hues, signaling a promising diplomatic avenue, intertwined with palpable elation. Hunt leader Vexcott, she proposed, might we perhaps delve into this matter within a more conventional, structured environment? The Academy would be deeply honored to cultivate further cultural synergy between our civilizations. The Carvex leader's response hinted at a subtle amusement. Commander, our comprehensive assessment has yielded ample data. The human species showcases potential far surpassing our preliminary estimates. We rescind our evaluation with profound respect for your enriching educational curriculum. The Carvex withdrawal mirrored their arrival's seamlessness, yet their departure resonated with markedly contrasting emotions. Far from resembling frustrated predators forsaking insufficient prey, they evoke the image of pupils grappling with an educator whose profound teachings demanded considerable time to thoroughly assimilate. As the Carvex vessel vanished into hyperspace, the Academy's corridors buzzed with returning personnel, regarding Core with an almost reverential fascination, usually reserved for awe-inspiring natural wonders or legendary deities. The human cadet, who had remained silent for a week, had single-handedly decimated the most terrifying predators in known space, achieving this feat using mere educational tools and ingenious tactical acumen rather than overwhelming firepower. Core, Vexpani began as her roommate entered their shared space. There's something I must ask you, and I sincerely hope you'll provide a genuine answer this time. Core glanced up, meticulously securing her gear with her usual unwavering precision. What is it you wish to know? Vexani paused, her mandibles clicking with an intensifying curiosity that had been simmering for the past 8 days. Why the week-long silence? A flicker of embarrassment, perhaps tinged with shrewd calculation, crossed her face. You labeled humans as weak, she explained, and it struck me that this perceived fragility might be our ultimate strategic play. Throughout the galaxy, many species equate tranquility with defenselessness. I sought to explore if we could turn this very expectation into a potent weapon. Weaponized. Vexani's hardened shell shimmered with something akin to wry amusement for her kind. The Carvex arrived anticipating docile, refined targets, Core elucidated. Instead, they stumbled upon a hunter exploiting their very presumptions against them. That week-long silence wasn't mere combat prep, priming for psychological dominance. I cultivated the perception, even among potential adversaries, that humanity possessed only superficial vulnerabilities. The ramifications were profound. Core dedicated her week of strategic silence not only to fortifying defenses, but orchestrating a sophisticated psychological initiative aimed at amplifying the inherent tactical advantage of being profoundly underestimated. She astutely exploited the galaxy's preconceived notions of human frailty, transforming them into a decisive tactical advantage. Commander Zilf's ensuing report to the Galactic Education Consortium swiftly became essential reading for xenopsychology scholars galaxy-wide. Officially titled Reevaluation of Human Behavioral Tendencies, Post-Carvex Confrontation, the document was popularly dubbed the Silent Predator Dissection, profoundly reshaping interspecies perceptions of humankind's latent capabilities. The Academy revolutionized its training with cutting-edge protocols rooted in causal methodology, strategically exploiting perceived vulnerabilities to conceal meticulous tactical readiness. Diverse species underwent prolonged silent focus exercises, yet none matched Core's unprecedented systemic mastery. 6 months following, when questioned regarding her week of quietude at a galactic summit concerning interspecies diplomacy, Core's reply evolved into a celebrated remark in diplomatic annals. We toiled for eons, realizing the deadliest predators frequently disguise themselves as the vulnerable. We simply omitted that we were, in fact, alluding to our own species. The cosmic perception of human capabilities experienced a profound transformation. The seemingly gentle, peaceful, and diplomatic species revealed an uncanny aptitude for strategic thought, almost precognitive in its scope. Crucially, they masterfully weaponized their perceived vulnerabilities into potent tactical strengths via meticulous preparation, unwavering patience, and a level of holistic planning usually attributed to seasoned military strategists, not fledgling cadets. The Terran Integration Academy pressed forward, elevating interspecies collaboration, now keenly aware that impactful diplomacy occasionally necessitates illustrating the stark realities and repercussions of engaging in armed conflict. And within Dormitory Block 7, cadet life resumed its usual vibrant cadence of everyday banter. Her peers never truly disregarded how their reserved, calculating classmate had once subdued a fearsome group of apex predators with barely a whisper. The galaxy internalized a crucial truth about prejudgments based on outward shows. Humans, as it became startlingly clear, possessed a danger potential precisely equivalent to their perceived harmlessness, which is to say, virtually none at all, until the instant they absolutely did.